All right, this time around we're going to be taking a look at another one of my Hexbug Junkbots MOCs. So one of the builds that I made myself with all the parts rather than just the ones that are kind of the pre-established sets. And yeah, this time around, this is one that I've called Chunka. I kind of just picked the first word that comes into my head when naming these guys. It was like, Chonka, because, Tonka makes toy construction vehicles and stuff like that. And he's got a big, excavator arm. That's pretty much all there is to it. That not super complex or anything. But yeah, no, I like the way this build looks. He's not the best of my builds in terms of stability, but he's using the Ollie and Dougie body here that is just a little TV, and I think that works pretty well. This was one that I really wanted to use this little calculator piece, I guess maybe it's not a calculator. No, it's a little Game Boy or something. But I really wanted to use that as a face or something like that, and then used the Dougie head, but this time upright, because usually this head is kind of used like this. Which is, I think looks pretty good, but it's always fun to try to take these parts and use them in different ways than than they've been used before. So I put this one upright, and then you could, if you want, extend it like that. I don't think that looks particularly good, but and then give him the little Game Boy for a face here. And then obviously he's got the big piston excavator arm, which unfortunately is a little bit too heavy, and the joint always gets a little bit loose, so it tends to fall off. And then he's got the kind of tri-leg here thing going on, where he's got one of these extendable sort of geared wrench or something pieces that we've seen on a bunch of molds. That works pretty well, especially because it's nice for a trifold kind of leg style, because you can extend it to kind of fit the length of the other legs. This one has a fire extinguisher on it. Again, I really wanted to use this piece as a leg, so I did that for this mold. This one, I've switched around the parts here a few times, just because I haven't found a totally great part here to use for this, where it doesn't just kind of topple under its own weight, unfortunately. So this is the current orientation, but I might change that up if I get a better part for it. And then for this leg, he's using, again, this kind of, I think maybe it's a metal detector or a crutch or something. But another thing that I really wanted to use on this build in particular was the hazard sign that was originally on, I think his name is Axel, but it doesn't actually fit into the peg on his leg whatsoever, so it can't really be used on that, but it does fit in the peg hole on this particular piece. So I thought it would be nice to kind of add that as a little flash of color for this build. And yeah, depending on the surface you have him standing on, he does stand okay, on foam core, what is my background, he does okay. But if he's on a smoother surface, then sometimes the legs kind of just slide under their own weight and he falls over, which is kind of annoying, but what can you do with these Junkbots pieces? In terms of the modules, we'll start off with the this is going to make him entirely fall to bits, I already know it. The vibration module, you can obviously just plug into the back here, and let's see if we can get him standing. I don't think it's going to really do much. Yeah, kind of just makes him fall over, because it loosens up the joints in his legs just enough that he kind of falls over, which, the like I've said before, the vibration module is not the best module at the best of times, so doesn't really work for him. But the motor module, again, if you plug it into the back there, does the same thing as obviously every other version of this body. It just makes the little thing in his chest spin, which is very subtle, but it's kind of nice. Gives him a little bit of life, which I appreciate. And then the LED module, there's some not really that many places we can plug it into. Obviously, you can plug it into the body and have that all going on. And then for the head, unfortunately, the way that you would plug that in would be under where his chin essentially is. So I don't think that'll work particularly well, but we can try it. He'll kind of just be looking straight up. I guess, well, yeah, I don't know. That kind of works all right. And then we'll plug the other two into his body here, which are pretty much the only places that we can plug it into. Then light that up, and yeah, that works all right. Because we're only able to plug it in a little bit to the bottom of the head here, it only makes the light on his head glow up a little bit, whereas obviously the ones in the body are a lot more noticeable. But I don't know, that works well enough, I guess. Not crazy useful with our, not crazy exciting with the modules, but you know, at least he has something to do with each of them. But yeah, in terms of articulation, obviously, you know, just lots of ball joints like most other junk bots. You can't really do a ton with him just because, I mean, at least with the pieces that I have and the tolerances that they've kind of developed over time, if you pretty much are just getting him to stand. You're not doing anything a whole lot more exciting than that. Used to be when I first put him together that the arm could actually like stay bent up like this, but since then it is kind of, you know, because the excavator piece in particular is a lot heavier than a lot of the other pieces because it has that sort of like piston thing built in. So it's sort of hard to use that as an arm and have it actually stay elevated in the air unless you're lifting it up with something else too. So, you know, you can't really do a whole lot with that. And then this arm too has, again, another kind of heavy piece for his forearm. So you're not doing a whole lot there, but mostly we're just getting him to stand. In terms of comparisons, for the standard ones that I usually do with Junkbots, here he is with the G1 Minibot Bumblebee and the Core Class Soundwave from Kingdom for Transformers. Here he is with a BotBot. Sure, why not? Actually, wait, let me get the TV BotBot. Here he is with GoobTube, because, you know, he actually turns into the same item that that he is. So there you go. There's our BotBots comparison. And then here he is with Jack Static, our poster child of the Junkbots. So you can see he's a pretty tall Junkbot build, towering over Jack Static, but still cool. I like the idea. I really liked the idea of using this kind of like tiny little body for to make like a bigger Junkbot, and I think it works pretty well. Unfortunately, like the main thing with him and why this build is not my favorite of the builds that I've made is that he has a really hard time standing and he kind of topples under his own weight. This was really one of the ones where I was trying to like use a lot of parts that I really like that I thought hadn't been used in like overly exciting ways prior, like the excavator arm and the little Game Boy and the little hazard sign there and the fire extinguisher. And you know, the part of the caveat to that is like, oh, once you get all these parts that you really like on there, sometimes the build is just a little bit unstable. But that's okay. You know, that's kind of par for the course with Junkbots. But either way, that's pretty much all we have here for Chonka. If you enjoy my videos, make sure to leave a like and consider subscribing. I do videos every Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday. And without further ado, here we have my build for Hexbug Junkbots, Chonka.